motorcycle.
2 days.
Okay.
It doesn't?
Testing, 1, 2, all right. It's hopefully going.
Does tutoring start on Monday?
Tutoring starts, no, MPL.
Starts next week and
Yeah,
then
there's
it
one thing going on next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
They swap staff
Okay.
for us.
All right.
I'm just double checking as I don't know things.
Okay.
That's weird. But I'm gonna see if I.
That'd be good.
I don't know when y'all start. I just show up.
Check on that and then follow up on that.
I just show up. I start never, so I'm good.
Yeah, this looks like I can.
Feeling doesn't start next week?
Hearing.
Feeling doesn't start next week.
I don't have the option for peer review. Oh, no, it's the peer review for their locations, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Can you not have appointments anymore?
I'm checking whether or not I can. Let's see. ACT peer leading sessions. Okay, there we go. Yep. And we're fine.
This
Here
is
you
where I'm
go.
like, well, I was supposed to get 10, 15.
Yeah, it's not on there.
Maybe Corey or
Something.
something.
It's got Emily.
It would be general biology. I literally graded during the
Still got
entire
Savannah.
semester.
Okay, ready everybody? All right, let's do this.
Yeah, I'll go talk to you.
What did I do?
Thank you.
So, we're meeting today, it's not just me instructing only, we need to talk and share ideas. I need critical feedback for some of these things. So today, that's what I'm stressing right now is I need questions, I need feedback to help me refine and the design of this program. This program was requested, we were requested to support this program 4 weeks ago, basically,
Yeah,
right?
barely a month.
Okay, so Mr. Castleton, I think everybody knows him, or you will get to know him.
You're Kayla Rose?
Yes.
Kayla Rose.
I'm Mr. Castleton, and you
Corey.
are Corey.
Which,
Stewart.
Stewart. Yep.
Okay. I'm peer
And-
leading, I'm a peer leader coordinator, but I'm also, I teach math, and I'm kind of coordinating this too,
Yeah.
with the help of Dr. Running,
Yeah.
doing a lot of
Yeah.
the reserving the room stuff, and I'm kind of coordinating the content, stuff like that. So I'll tell you a little bit about that in a little while when he's ready.
So it's a modified peer leader program in a sense that it's group support, but you're not expected to do group activities, if that makes sense. Mostly people will be working on web assigns so we can track their homework, and you will, in, I don't know, whatever the connotations, in a triage sort of way, help them when they get stuck on a problem, basically, right?
Yes.
I want to say this up front too, you don't want to get bogged down. I think one reason why we changed up to the appointment system and small group work is, Selena, for example, sometimes she felt bogged down. She couldn't get to enough people. So you really don't want to get bogged down with one person alone. You want to monitor your time. You want to help them as quickly as possible. You know, modeling something, then letting them practice it, and then letting them continue practice while you move on to the next person. So one way to do that is when they come in for their appointment. So forgive me, sometimes I'll say something I'll have to back up because I'll have to give background to it. So the first week, Mr. Castleton has already sent out an email to all his 0999B and C students.
Yes, sir.
One group needs to do 4 hours a week in here, ideally 4 hours a week in here, and the other group needs to do 2. I don't think you necessarily have to know which one. What you'll be doing the first week, if they make their appointments, is you will help them you will actually do it, make a repeating appointment, okay? I have instructions on making repeating appointments, and you know how to do it? Yeah. Which leads me, all these things tie into each other, which leads me to say, there's a thing called FERPA. It's an act, a privacy act. I'll just say that. You can look up the, I don't know all the acronym, what each word stands for, letter, I can guess. But basically, you just don't share information. You don't share information with parents if they ask you. It has to be an official CSU person. It has to be me or Mr. Castleton if we ask it, or we can just look it up on our own, right? Don't share it with other people. If you know somebody and you see their information, it's confidential, it's a secret, you keep it locked away, okay? It's between, and you really won't have to see it. But one thing that we're giving you a privilege is where you can see it. But it's a privilege so you can do something else, which is, and I'm not gonna, I could show them, but it depends on time. You will basically do a quick search next week. Somebody comes in, Jane Smith comes in, you'll be at your computer and she's like, I'm here to set up my reoccurring appointment. I can come in Mondays and Wednesdays at 1. And so what you'll do is just search for Jane's name, or she can give you her 909 number, which is better. Her name will pop up, and then I'll share the instructions where you go through and you set the subject, you set the class, you set the date, you set it for repeating every week, and things like that, okay? So your job is to help people make repeating appointments. It's to help them with the subject, and it's to do it fairly in a reasonable amount of time, moving about the room. That's why we capped it at 15 people, and we're trying, many times there are overlapping, so there'll be 2 of you on, so it's 7.5 for each person, right? So 2 people will work the room, and hopefully we'll give the support for these students. Mason.
Are students able to make their own appointments accordingly as well, if they wish to make a singular appointment?
Yes, they can.
Okay, because I've already had 2 made, so
That's a great question. So students can make their own appointment. They can do it weekly, come in each time. But it's supposed to be like a class. I mean, and I'm speaking in ideal terms. It's supposed to be like a class to make a commitment to come in weekly. If you do have a prep time, and you do have a wrap-up time. I think I may have said otherwise in an email, but please get ready to work. So if you're, and most of you are familiar with this, if you have an MPL time that is 1 to 4, say, your actual official paid shift starts at 12:45, and it ends at 4:15. So that time should be used to help people get into the room, get on the computer, and sign in. They need to sign in on the sheet. This is a record-keeping redundancy in case something with EAV goes wrong. I was going to say Facebook.
May I ask about that sign-in sheet? Is that going to be like per block session, or like is that a whole day sign-in sheet, or what?
We're going to try. A lot of this is experimental, but we made 15 rows on the sheet, and I asked Kathy to make weekly batches for each hour.
Okay.
Does that seem right? So each hour we only want 15 people at a time. And stay here. They need to stay here for the full time.
So what happens if they leave?
Well, I mean,
Do you want them to put an end time in? Because you know you can put
I
an
would-
end time in.
if they get done with their work and they're comfortable, we let them go in the summer. I think they can go. I'd like a time in and time out, because that's probably where I'm going to start looking at when I'm tracking attendance for these students.
So can we add that in a row? Or
We have a column for
Okay.
timeout.
Yeah, I really appreciate time in and time out, and
So when they come in, and it's during your prep time or whatever, and everybody's getting in here, just remind them, okay, sign up, and don't forget to sign out when you leave. And again, ideals, let's imagine we're already in the semester, they made their repeating appointment. If they don't show up to their time, you need to be tracking this too, and that's why we're trying to eventually have 2 people on. But if somebody doesn't show up, then you should, just like a regular appointment, no show. Okay?
I mean, I put it out there like one group's supposed to go 4 hours a week, one group's supposed to go 2. I doubt very seriously somebody's going to go a whole 4 hours a week. Part of it, they are allowed part of it to do it on their own. The idea is to get them in here some at least, and that they're doing their work is the main thing. But I mean, if they come in here and get it done in 30 minutes and they know what they're doing and they're happy, they let them go, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
that's what we did in the summer. I mean,
I
so.
can't reinforce enough that if something gets missed or whatnot, don't worry, you didn't break it. We'll figure out, and it could be our error not thinking it's something fully out of
This is a learning
procedure
process for all of us.
everybody.
See how it goes.
This is all a synthesis of everything we've done before in different other activities and services. Yes.
As far as submitting reports go, are we expected to to put them in individually, or assuming that we have 3 students who all come at the same time, and I'm assuming they're going to be working on the same assignment, can we just do like we do with peer leading and put the same report for all 3?
Okay. I am not sure about that. And it has come to mind, but I haven't had it. Are we going to do reports for every single thing? No.
I
Do we need to
Just
do?
do a block
The
both
report
of
will
them?
be me seeing, I'll be able to go in there and see their work
Should-
and,
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Then
I
should
don't,
we use reports on, let's just say there's a student who comes in and seriously is having an issue with something, should we do a report?
see
with-
something.
That's a great idea.
And then use it just as a reporting system so that if you
Sure.
see a report there, you know, like he knows to go in and look at it and be like, well, this was an issue.
Mhm.
Or like if we do have an issue, like 'cause I'm on Sundays, I'm expecting neither one of y'all wanting to come in on a Sunday, but like if I have like a huge issue, put it in a report.
Yes.
Yeah, if you have something of note,
Yeah.
you can put it in there, but I mean, you
Okay.
know. the
So
main
something
thing is-
that's noteworthy, make a note.
The main
Yeah.
thing is getting them in here and getting them to do the
Okay.
work,
Yeah.
that's the main issue at the moment.
Yeah, Dr. Kamau, Dr. McHenry, who else is involved that are higher than us?
Dr. Howard,
Dr. Howard.
Butcher, Dr.
Yeah, they're understanding that like we're all going to do the best we can with our past experience, what we know before and applying it now. We're going to see what we can transfer in and then change what doesn't work.
Because, you know, the math department had no idea where this was gonna happen. I mean, this morning I sent out an email to 202 students who I'm responsible for. I think it's gone down a little bit because Dr. Shoemaker just sent me an email saying that some of them are learning support, so we've lost a few, but a lot of students.
So like, kind
I'm
of,
not leaving.
I got you.
I got the
kind
next
of take a
topic.
step back, like what are these, like how do they get into this program? Do people volunteer?
Testing it. Yeah, just a quick, y'all remember there used to be remedial math classes like Math 0195, Math 0989. The state of Georgia did away with all that. They think students will get through quicker if they're assimilated in a regular class and have like what they call co-rec support. So that, you know, like instead of taking a class before they go to college algebra, they're gonna get put right in college algebra, and while they're doing it, they're gonna take this little co-rec support, right? Now Columbus State, this was not my decision, and I don't know who did, but they decided that it should be an online support, computer support, and where you go to a lab and get help. All right, so that's what I was asked to help with, so they'll be, you know, they're saying that they'll get through quicker that way. So we're gonna see how.
So that's a background.
We're gonna see how it works, and we started it in the summer, I only had 11 students, you remember that I told you we had 202 this morning, Phil Hall a lot more. And it was done, I don't know if y'all know, remember the old FOB building over here, that's what they call Shannon Hall now, there's a Learning Support Success Center. Some of them will be going over there too, we're probably gonna have some come in here that are supposed to go there, there's probably, and vice versa at the beginning. You know, they've got technically all the students who are classified as learning support. We have students who have been regularly admitted, right? But they maybe didn't test quite high enough to get right into college algebra by itself. And so instead of taking 0195 for a whole semester, they're taking college algebra plus this lab, 1 or 2 hour lab.
That what that B is you're talking about?
Yeah, B means you have, B is a 2-hour lab, which means you're supposed to go 4 hours a week. C is a 1-hour lab, which means you're supposed to go 2 hours.
Gotcha.
So
3 versus 6.
essentially, this is like the main class does primarily the teaching and the testing. The separate co-requisite does the homework stuff.
Well, no, they got homework and, you know,
They both?
they're two different classes. Now, in this class, I'm only grading them on homework and attendance, no tests. or whatever.
Okay.
And they're gonna be doing some of the same things in the lab that they do in the regular class.
Okay.
But what I'll have with it is a little maybe order of operations or how to factor or something like that that will help them with their college algebra. Does that make sense? Each assignment I have will, well, not each, but just about everyone will have some remedial material, background material, plus some of what they're doing in college algebra. There's gonna be some redundancy, and that's state of Georgia said it should be, you know, almost the same content. In the lab, I won't go into as hard a problem as they might have in the real class, because the idea of the lab is to get a good foundation. Is what, and again, this is just experimental, so.
And so it's such a large group that this is the model that we have to go on because we can't handle a 3-to-1, like 3 clients to 1 tutor model that we already have. It'd just be overwhelming for the center. We don't have enough tutors.
And one other thing, while I got, you know, you're gonna have students in the lab that they might be working on a lab topic that they're not working on in college algebra, and vice versa. Does that make sense? They might not always line up because there's 10 different instructors for college algebra this semester, and only one lab, you know, one lab is supporting 10 different, and there's no way possible for me to kind of lay out assignments to satisfy 10 different people. So you're gonna have some people that, hey, I'm doing this in the lab, but I'm not doing it yet in college algebra. So the idea is either preview or review. Either they're seeing it for the first time and they'll be ready when they see it, maybe, or better prepared, or they've seen it in college algebra and they're reviewing it in the lab, one or the other. And that's what you gotta remind them, keep them positive if they do complain about that. Because it's impossible, I can't do it. It was about 17 or 18 sections of college algebra and 10 different people to line it up for everybody, right? And it's evenly spread out, there's plenty of time for them to do everything, I think. Thank you.
So, speaking practically, when you get here, if you're the first MPL for the day, you have to unlock this here. We might already have it unlocked for you. I can do it too. It's, the code?
15, 18 pound.
Yep.
Very good.
Grass Mason for the code. It's my only goal.
It's our palindrome, except for the pound, right? But, and you gotta do it quickly. I don't know, you can practice it sometimes, because really, I mean, professors, like I know Dr. Bond has used this before, and others, where it's just like, it's hard to do until you get used to it. So you punch in the code and you quickly turn it to the left, okay? And then I have a list here of prep things to do. Again, I need your feedback if you think other things need to be done. But before you unlock the door, you should let Kathy or Alicia or Tanya know, hey, I'm here for my shift. And if you're the first one, come on over and unlock the door. If not, just come on over and either join or relieve the other person. As clients come in the door, again, have them sign up. We may have a table in here with us on it, and you can leave a space for you or whatever you want on it. I think a table might be good too. Or we can just use this. And you should go ahead and turn on all the computers or wake all the computers up. I'm doing the mouse motion, right? Or tap the keyboard. What's that?
It's probably all very slow to come out.
Yeah, so it would be helpful. If this is your NPL, Momentum Peer Leader computer, you can use this monitor. You saw I just turned it on, it's already connected, and log in. If you need it for something, maybe show a concept or something like that. Or just keep the ACT website page up there. Mark clients, so you're not going to be always, well, we'll see. But you know, you may not be constantly tutoring. You might have 5 minutes or so. At that point, you should be checking no-shows, you know, marking people off, seeing who's here, okay, or helping with repeating appointments.
I have one other thing you can check too that I'll tell you about in a little while.
Okay.
Your downtime.
What else would you do for prep time, do you think? Seeing
Make sure the area is relatively orderly,
Yeah.
no issues with any of the computers.
I have a random question, just because I think it'd be really helpful.
Okay.
Are we allowed to write on these tables and/or desks? Are they all writable?
I think
I don't know.
Test that.
You'll test it.
Oh, nice.
You're the only one who does it.
Well, I'm just wondering, because then if like someone asks you for a question, you can sit there and just write on the table for them at the diagram when I'm showing it.
Right.
Otherwise, you need like whiteboards or something.
I think we do have whiteboards, don't we?
I'll err on the side of caution on that one.
A couple of whiteboards that we're back running that we
Don't use?
We don't use.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
roll this. one or
Let's
two
bring them
of
in
these.
here.
I was talking about like a really small one you can just set on the table just so that like.
Yeah,
'cause
maybe,
then
maybe
each
not,
person
but
could-
for now, let's just use, that's a possibility. But for now, just grab the ones in the very back room. You know the one,
Yeah.
my old office?
In that back
Old
little
one.
computer lab, that corner, there's two just sitting in the corner back there.
Okay, I'll grab them.
So yeah,
I like writing things.
order the, weight computers, make sure the room's orderly, make sure you have your sign-up sheet. Again, this is a redundancy record keeping thing because they're already putting their names in EAP. Let's see. Managing tutoring time in the lab. Work with clients on a first come, first served basis. It's not just walking in the room, but first one to like raise their hand or whatever. Assist clients into, is it My Math Lab or is it
Web
WebAssign?
Design.
This is
Web-
old.
It should be
then.
web design, yeah.
I
I don't
think
think they
y'all have
use
some
MATLAB.
familiarity with WebAssign, anybody?
Hmm?
Most of y'all, some of y'all have some familiarity with
I
WebAssign?
don't like it, but yes.
It works.
No, it doesn't.
It's not as bad as MC.
I don't have much experience with
I thought I
It's
had
just a-
WebAssign,
it's
and then I
like-
switched to Math Lab, and
Master
then
of
I,
chemistry?
I'm
It's like
switching
Master
back
of
to
chemistry,
WebAssign.
Have you ever used Mastery Physics though?
Mastering
I
things
haven't
is so much
taken
fun.
Mastery
yes.
Physics is evil.
All right, gang. Limit your time when working with clients. We're unsure of the time frame, but try to work within a 10-minute limit. What do you think? You worked the big room, the big University 250?
If we were in 215, like it would just depend, because you would have some students who just came in and just wanted to do their own thing.
Okay. They
Some-
just like the atmosphere. of
No,
the-
they just wanted
Yeah.
to have someone there to like, if they have a question, they can get help.
Okay.
But like normally they're just here to sit there and just do their work because they have to be.
That might be the case here.
So they just want you to sit there and look pretty. And if they have a question, they raise their hand. Normally how that works.
And we were trying to figure out avoid clients who,
you mark that. The reason I didn't have a complete sentence is because I didn't know how to say, like I was going to say, avoid clients who hog your time. But that doesn't sound like a very nice thing to say. But, so I came up with avoid clients who take an inordinate amount of time, so you're just not sure if they're ever going to end with needing your help. So you really need to feel confident that everybody fair, in a fair way needs your help, or you
The
need.
idea for that one is if you've already, let's just say there's 2 students in Mr. Castleman's class, one of them wants an inordinate amount of your time, make them work together.
Yes, that's what Samantha Brewer mentioned. So you guys probably did the same thing maybe when you were in
No, we did.
Yeah.
You hear
So
us keep on
that's the other thing you could actively do in here to feel like managing things is group people up. So if you discover they're same class or working on the same type of problem, then hey, Jane's working on this. Why don't you come over and sit next to her and talk about it?
Or it could be like you just leave them with a question to work on while you go and assist somebody else, and then
Yep.
come back later on to check their,
Yeah, and the idea that you were mentioning is still supports the philosophy here of peer education and peer-to-peer learning, which is what we do.
And just to be real clear, these students who take this lab class, the 0999, will always have me as, I'm the instructor of record, right? If any of them say Hassani, they want to go over to the other one. If they're talking about their college algebra, it could be me, but it could be 9 others. Does that make sense? So, if you get somebody who's talking about their lab assignment and they said it's Mr. Hassani, they're supposed to be over there. Okay.
I couldn't note that on the door.
So
I
Yeah.
think it was supposed to be in here.
the other thing
Yeah.
you should be doing besides circulating around the room, managing your time and giving feedback and support, we talked about online, right? Online. What was our determination? I've been looking at Mr. Castle. What
Yeah,
was
that's
my
what
final?
Well, that's what
I
I
made a
was.
decision or a proposal. People accept it, but then now I'm forgetting what.
Well, you meant like the online thing I was talking about, or?
Well, you said students would be in your 0999, but there's a few that are in his that are online. Weren't we talking about
But that's all.
discussion boards and?
Well, yeah, I don't know what we decided on that.
We'll not get into it right now.
Yeah, no, but you want me to go ahead and mention my part of it?
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do, I haven't done it, but I'm gonna add every one of you to my class, all right? You're gonna get added in as a student in 0999, all right? Only for the purpose is that it has, each week we'll have a link on it for like an online help with an MLP. Maybe they're at home, maybe they're in another part of campus and can't come here, maybe they have a question, they're gonna post it to the discussion board. And if you would, during your downtime, if you could, you just go to that discussion board in my class and maybe you can answer the question.
Do I still have access even though I graduated?
I think you can, and I've had people outside the university,
That's
like there's other directors that I share my stuff with.
Yeah,
Our
I'll try
staff.
it out. Y'all know how to, so if you go to, I haven't done it yet, but I guess I'll do it either today or this weekend or Monday, but I'll add you guys in, so it should show up in your class schedule in Cougar View.
And
You know,
for
there's no-
Emily, you just send Jan Haney a request to have her as a
I
student.
will.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
does that make sense? So like during your downtime, one of your responsibilities would be if you just go on there and see if anybody's, I'll try to answer questions too, but I've got, as a link there, I've got like, or my last time I looked, who's working at what time. They'll know who's working on Mondays, who's working on Tuesdays, in other words, when you all respond. But if you respond, say, hey, this is Emily, I'm an MLP working right now, good question, here's what you could do, right? Or
Will we be
something.
able to, question, just random, can we upload like photos to that? Like, let's just say it was a problem, he wanted it worked out.
Cougar View,
Alright.
Cougar View accepts.
I haven't worked with it. So.
No, I'm just saying, it does.
Okay.
They
Well, he's
changed.
logging in. I can try to log in and show you, but I've got the class broken down by week, so like for every week, it has a link to the discussion board, so.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
This goes back more to peer leading as well, but, so can professors like just
Yes.
add me to a class or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Okay. That
If
makes
you ask them
sense.
enough, yes.
Well, I was down for the
You
Center
could
for
do-
Online Learning, and this is one of their
Ask
ideas for
No,
an
Cougar View
online
accepts
class.
videos, so if you're really
Okay, I
dedicated,
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I'm not that
Definitely
dedicated.
I'm just
Actually, I
saying.
can do screen record if I do that.
I'm just letting you know.
So I think
I don't like these ideas.
let's since we're in the managing time right now, and I'm thinking about the first week, which critical, not in a national security sense, but it's critical for these students to get them started and get you started as well. Let me go ahead and go through these instructions. I'm going to follow them as though I'm checking. I'm going to check me.
You can make
I'll give
appointments
you
with me.
a meeting appointment. So let's go ahead to create repeating appointments. Let's go ahead and do this. So this, by the way, document is on the ACT staff resources page. It's the second item after
There's a star.
the handbook. There you go. Extra, yeah, highlighting.
I know, I love the star.
Let's try this. All right, so the instructions say log into my CSU, which I did, and click on EAB in the left navigation menu, which I am. Redirecting. All right. Mason,
Yes, sir.
909.
909-396-577.
Remember, 909 is one of the quickest, most accurate way to find students.
I don't think that's you.
All right.
I don't know, I think that's me.
On the right, under I want to, which I think should be bigger, it's a heading sort of, right? Click schedule an appointment. That's over here. So it's under staff alerts, and I want to, and down here, schedule an appointment. And this is my profile. I'm not impersonating you.
Yeah.
And so this is what you're doing as a tutor, sort of administrator, high-level tutor. Ooh, high-level tutor.
I've been doing this too.
So I did that. Under filters, now here we go. So on this left-hand side, under filters, the care unit is tutoring.
Yeah.
The location is,
Cassidy's class. Woodall, 128, Cassidy's class.
thank you. The service is, it limits it. See?
Okay.
Which one over there in?
Because Hassani is over at a different place.
And is he A?
He's,
And he has Bs and Cs too. He has
Yeah,
learning
okay.
support
and he's
Bs
an
and Cs.
0997 as well?
He does, yeah, he has 097, B and C, those are people taking quantitative
Okay.
skills and reasoning. But he also has a few college algebra Bs and Cs.
That's why Emily was saying we should put a sign on the door that specifically says, Mr. Hassani students are in blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, that's
blah,
probably a good idea.
And once you do it a few times, it'll go pretty quickly.
sometimes.
And you should have your EAB available, and you may have to check it though, like sometimes it logs you out. So be aware, you're like, it's not working, it's glitching. It's like, well, just log back out, log back in. Hopefully you don't have to turn the computer off and back on either.
That one.
The next step is service, we already did that.
Nice.
Ooh, I gotta update that, don't I? Because I don't have Cassiton for 4C. Is that correct? I need to. On the instructions here, is that right? Okay. Next step is select the date of the first appointment. So, bam. And we'll work with, let's see, Corey's working 2-5. So your client will say, you asked him, so how many hours a week do you need to come? 4 hours or 2 hours? What works with your schedule? And they'll say, my most open days are Monday, Wednesday, or something like that. So maybe you look for the largest blocks on Monday and Wednesday, and that's a pretty big block. And they're going to say after 2. The ideal one, right, for this situation. So we picked the date. We picked Corey. What's left? Let's see. We aren't sure what this one. Under the selected organizer, that's
Yeah.
we did that right here. Now let's see. Now, so let's see. Did that change? Choose a meet time.
Yeah, you choose a meet time so you can pick which
Hold on,
one.
I'm reading my instructions, but they're not aligning. So, or are they?
I don't have anything past B.
Let's see. Flip your page.
It's blank.
Yeah, no, we're missing the second half of the document.
Uh-oh. I did two
Maybe the
seconds.
printer just winked out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I love those pens. I collect those pens.
I have 15 of them.
You have too many.
I don't have too many pens. There's no such thing as too many pens.
You're as bad as Tracy is.
No, I'm not. I am better than Tracy is.
Tracy was working on her personal statement for med school.
Each colors are
Kind of a hoop you
different.
gotta jump through.
See, I don't blame you. That's what I would do.
But the
No,
Bs are
Tracy was working on her personal statement.
And she has like 15 colors.
She pulled out like 10 pens.
Okay.
You don't understand. I beat
Get
Tracy.
your attention.
I beat Tracy for
I think
years.
it's crazy.
Emily, Chance, everyone. All right, so under filters, we did this. We selected tutoring. We selected the location. We selected the service. Select the date. We put the 20th. And so what you're doing is selecting the first day of the one that you're going to repeat.
Mhm.
Okay. So here I have this, either it changed on me or I missed it. You need to select an organizer one here first, and then you choose a time. This is my tech writing.
Yeah.
So this works out really great. I can do 4 to 5 on Wednesday and Friday. And then you scroll down to repeat this appointment, and we want to do it weekly.
Systems working out?
Did you select time up there?
Everyone?
I did.
Meeting time.
So it's only allowing me because, I don't know, multiple days.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come in, I'm a 2-hour person, I want to come in those 2 hours every single week. Repeat until, and here's the thing, I put it on here, December 5th.
And that's what
Last day of
that's the
class.
date I had too,
Okay.
yeah, so that's when the lab will end, right? Okay.
And I'm going to save this appointment, Corey and Mason, all right? And then we'll get to get feedback for what comes out the other
Yeah.
end. Did you get an email or anything?
Also, just, you've already gone past the page, but you do have the option where I have certain conflicts in my schedule that aren't actually conflicts, they're just for certain things. You can unlock conflicts if you need to.
Okay.
So, I have to do that for peer leading, for example.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can hypothetically do it at any time on that time chart, you just have to swap it to unlock conflicts, and then you can also schedule it during that time.
Is it that one little drop down?
Yeah, when it should be availability,
Yeah.
yeah, you can change that.
Okay.
But yeah, I got an email regarding it.
All right, and you got an email too? Very good. So at least we have the basics down. You know, that's the basics of helping with repeating appointments. And back to what you asked earlier in the session, they could do it week by week if they want.
Okay.
It's not the best, because we want it to seem like a class. It is a class, and it's something you enroll in, they pay for it. So it needs to be something that's regular, recurring, standard, expected. Okay?
I noticed it said that I was available on Tuesdays, but I'm not.
Okay.
Do you want to just email me
Yeah.
changes or whatever, update that workbook and email it to me, and then I can change it in your schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problems. We can always do. So this is all living documents and schedules and things like that. I need to figure out how to delete that appointment, don't I? You know how to do it?
Oh, yeah, I have to do it.
Okay.
So either I or Corey have to go to our own EAB, and then I go under my own appointments, and from there I can cancel it. Or delete it, whichever you need to do. Yeah.
So which should they do?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do it as
I
well.
can do it.
Okay, so after this meeting, go ahead and delete that. What was it? Wednesday, Friday
Yeah.
appointment.
What, you didn't want to come in here on
4 to
Wednesdays and
5.
Well, it
Fridays
takes
from 2 to
someone's
5?
face who
So
could
do they do
use it.
delete it, or can, cause in my
He
email,
doesn't know.
you have the words, like, if you don't like your recording appointment, you
I
can.
like
We're
how my
doing
advisor's
delete
still
because
not
this
the
was an experiment.
Who is your advisor?
This is
Dr.
just a
Banerjee.
test.
Or they can just cancel no
Sucker.
But
longer.
in my
I don't know
email
why
this morning,
it's
you
Keep
guys
Jackson,
told me to
keep
just
Jackson,
delete.
you want Jackson.
You know, when you edited my
Because
email,
yeah, I
one of
don't
the
think
things
you
in
can
there
unlock
said, you know,
anything. So.
You want
make an appointment
Jackson.
for the first week, and then when you come in, they're gonna NPO to help you
But
set
that
the
means I have
recurring
two
appointment. If you're not
Jacksons.
happy, delete the recurring
That means I have
appointment,
both
have them
Jacksons.
reset it or something like that.
So you have Jackson's clear, I don't understand the question.
Is that okay?
Yes, yeah.
And Dr.
Because when we
Sure.
cancel,
Understand
it
the
leaves
issue.
things on the books.
So,
We want them to delete in this case.
okay, in this case, okay.
Yeah, you understand conceptually, like,
I understand.
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand, I just wanna be sure.
If students cancel, like in a traditional tutoring situation, we want to know about all these cancellations.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a marketing and a policy problem that takes up space. But if it's an issue of recurring appointments,
I got you. Okay, that's
yeah,
what I
that
wanna be
needs to be
sure.
deleted.
Wanna be sure.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up because we need to make that distinction. And this brings, so Corey and Kayla, usually we do, like I just said, I'll just repeat it. We usually, if a student comes in and says, I need to cancel my appointment on Friday, just somebody that gets regular tutoring, we cancel it because again, I want to record it according to policies. How many cancellations do we get? Is this a culture of cancellations or something? Like, what can we do to change the gravity of what it means to cancel a appointment? Because students will take up slots that can be used by other students, so it can be a problem. I forget what, I did that mini study where I gathered that data and it was almost a third or something like that was cancellations of all the appointments. It's bad. So we've dealt with what is the cancellation window for an appointment. You know, is it gonna be 12 hours, or is it gonna be 3 hours before the appointment that you have to cancel, and things like that. But in this situation, with these recurring appointments, we do need, a student needs to change it and do some other pattern, then you would wanna delete it, okay? So that's the distinction. All right, Mason.
So since this is a class, they do have a required attendance amount, correct?
Yes.
So, do we put in no-shows if they don't show, and then Mr. Caslin will look and make note accordingly of?
Yes.
Okay.
And again, we're kind of, I'm putting it out there that, hey, you're supposed to do X amount of hours,
Okay.
but again, if you're doing your work and
Getting it done.
then we're kind of, that's where we are right now, because I mean,
And that's what, it's contingent, right? So, student gets 2 no-shows and then they get blocked or whatever, then you say, we need to revisit when to make these repeating appointments, and then you need to recommit yourself to them. Or we could say, you know what, maybe repeating appointments don't work for you because you have a work schedule. I work part-time, not every week was the same time. So come in and do your appointments for the week. But maybe week by week, but the whole week do an appointment, and you can do that as well, instead of doing it for a month or a semester. And that's the other thing with the repeating appointments. Let's think about that and work contingently. A what-if situation is, say they don't want to make it for the whole semester, and that might be working better. Let's say I know my work schedule for the month, or I know my commitments for the month. Let's just make it through September 30th.
And that would be a good use of downtime too, before and
Yeah.
after is, that.
I'm really interested to see, again, this is a pilot study, I'm really interested to see what falls out, what works well, what does not work well.
I want y'all to understand, my idea is, is not to, I don't want students, some students are gonna do this, I don't wanna overwhelm them with work, one student might take 4 or 5 hours to do something, one student might take 30 or 40 minutes, so there's really, you gotta find a balance there, and that's why, we're kind of a little flexible on this, how long you're really here kind of thing. The important thing is they're doing it, and hopefully they're coming here at least some, but, I guess you all know that everybody leads busy lives, and some people can't come here as much as they would want to or should, right? So, when they're in here too, they can also work on some of their college algebra homework if they're done. If they still have some time, you can say, hey, because they're gonna have homework in that class too, so.
If they aren't able to, this is just throwing questions out there, if they aren't, you said something about commitments, let's just say they aren't able to commit to 4 hours a week just because they can't, they want the help, but they can't commit, are we gonna open up online tutoring, like how we have for the tutoring center?
Oh, goodness.
I'm saying, but make them make
Maybe
actual.
just do that discussion thing for now,
Okay.
Yeah, because online tutoring is a whole other
but that could really,
ballgame
that could
when it
really
comes
be done,
to.
I think.
Well, I was thinking ask them to make appointments with the tutoring center for
Well,
online.
Oh, and
That's
count that
always
as
an
time?
And count that as a
Okay.
thing.
That did come up in conversation. Yeah, so it's a case-by-case thing. It's not broadcasted. It's,
Okay.
per individual, yeah.
But I was just curious.
But they're still gonna have to, even though the commute, they get rid of that time spent, they still have to have some time doing the online because it's synchronous, right? So, transportation's an issue for some people.
So they could just but make an actual appointment with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but we can look them up. We've got records everywhere. Yeah, for better or worse.
I mean, I'll log in a minute and I can show them real quick what it looks like if you want to. Are y'all interested in seeing what it looks like? Or,
What it looks like, what was that?
well, I can take you to
The class.
Cougar View and then the web design if you want,
Okay.
just to look. I mean, I'm not gonna bore you for hours.
Since
Oh,
we're
yeah, that
enrolled in
sounds
the
like
class,
fun.
would we be able to see like the problems they were
So
assigned?
you're just gonna be in the portal to it.
You'd have to buy WebAssign. So,
Okay, Mom, I don't want to talk to you. I swear. I keep ignoring your call.
So what do you think so far?
seems pretty straightforward.
I thank you for doing it. I mean, I don't know if you felt you could refuse or not, but I'm glad you're doing it. I really appreciate it because I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Where am I going to get these tutors? What's going to happen? That's the first step, panic. Even though I tell my son, don't panic. Yeah, he was working on some math last night. He's like crying a little bit. It's really our problem. And it was why does there have to be vocabulary in math? So it was some writing, like he had to fill in the blank with identifying like the operation or something like that. He's like, why is there vocabulary in math? And he's good at
You had
ELA.
issues.
I did more writing and statistics than I did in my English class in
Oh,
high school.
wow.
I bet, yeah. He's good at both. He's tested well,
What
but
is
still,
this?
there's moments
What is
that
this?
it's the first
This
thing
is
my
not
wife
Cougar
says.
View.
You don't
That
go
is-
straight to
That
Panda.
is not
Yeah.
Cougar View.
That is Cougar View.
Flip
They
it
That looks
changed
Yeah.
wrong.
They
That looks like
changed
completely
Cougar View.
wrong.
I know, but they both have their own portal, but
It's
they'll be the same
fine.
thing. This is kind of their
I have to learn a new
welcome
system.
page,
I
and,
can't-
All right, I
you
have
know,
those.
you can either click that to get to the content, or they'll click here, but
Huh.
we're supposed to have an orientation to go through, right? Welcome, syllabus and all that. There's a course schedule if you want to view that and what they're doing every week.
Mhm.
But what it'll look like here's week 1. Every week I put in like some of my own notes or whatever. I don't have any of my own videos. I haven't done that yet. It's kind of scary. I've got Khan Academy stuff, YouTube, and all the topics they need that they can watch. They don't have to, but they can. It's just supplemental material, right? So those are all in here. You'll see these here. But the thing you want to kind of pay attention to, here's the online help with an MPL form. Now, this form can be used for you to get help in your assignments and web assignment. You cannot make it to the lab. Questions in this form will be answered by an MPL or the instructor on the following days, excluding holidays and days when the campus is closed.
Regarding the sources that you provide, if they do ask for us as the MPLs to give them sources, would you prefer that we refer them to what you're using to keep it
You can
uniform?
start with that, but if you find something good, it doesn't
Okay.
matter. You know, because WebAssign will have videos for them. I'm just trying to, I'm
I
just trying to
know
get more
better
than what they
than
already
like
have.
here.
I don't mind at all. You can refer them to here, or if it's not, if you find something better, do it.
Notes I
And you got the days and times. I put here every attempt, I don't know, this is what they said down at the Center for Online Learning, every attempt we made to answer all questions within 12 hours of the time they were submitted. I don't know. Is
Fair.
that reasonable? But,
Yeah.
you know, when you do it, they'll just click on here, and y'all know how to do a discussion board, y'all done some of that.
I can figure it out.
It'll have that prompt there again, and then, you know, you might see some threads here.
Yes,
but you-
yeah, I was gonna say.
When you see a thread here, you can click on this to answer it, all right? To start a new thread, you just.
You want us not to reply to the thread?
Sir,
As a part of the tutor training, they have to do discussions, so they know.
So
But
you-
I'm sure I'm not the
Well,
only
you did.
class.
I
Yeah.
did.
all right, so y'all,
Oh, you didn't
now
have
again,
to?
I have to add
I
your
did.
names, but if that
Go for it.
course shows up on your schedule, it's not going on your transcript or anything, I don't think.
No.
It's your- At least that's not what I was told. Just add it to the discussion board, okay?
We don't need to reply to it, we just need to make new threads each time?
It's just kind of starting a thread, you're just kind of going in there and answering it.
Okay.
So I would just say, hey, you know, you could do, and they don't have their name with it, you could say, hey, you know, Mason, that's a good question, you know. Give an answer, maybe you could give a referral to a link or something like that, you know, we're talking about if there's not a good one that I have on there for it, right?
Yeah, if you don't want to write the pros for it, they can send them to,
Yeah.
this is the thing that helped me the most with
Good
this
resource,
topic,
yeah.
and just the same thing.
And I have a
I'm
link
just
to
gonna do it on my
WebAssign
iPad,
every
it'd be
week.
easier.
Khan Academy is.
So if you click
I'd
on
be
the
lazy.
website, there's the link, and they'll, you know, if you want to help them get started, all of them, I have links in here on how to get into WebAssign, right? You know, how to get started. They'll need a class key. They'll go up there for the first day, and they click on this, and they put the class key in there that I gave them to get into the class, all right? But when they
It's
get
like
in,
mastering chemistry.
But mastering chemistry like doesn't, and that's the one. No,
Would I get myself to do also this?
I have issues with this. I would put in the same thing, and it would be the same exact answer, but like simplified.
and this won't become active, they'll get the first assignment Monday.
Mastery also has issues.
So,
It wouldn't accept the symbol E for energy because it took it as meaning the notation for times 10 to something, despite the fact that I put it in 3 different ways. So,
the capital W,
No,
too,
yeah.
capital W, capital
I
Dropped
did.
off for a while.
And yeah, you know, I've only got 15 assignments ready. There'll be usually one a week, but every other week they'll have 2. Every week they'll have like a homework assignment on a section. And every other week I'm giving them like a progress check, just maybe 10 problems or so of what they're doing now and assignments
There's only
before, right?
15 assignments for the whole semester?
Well, right now, but I got like 6 or 7 more to add in of those progress checks that I haven't added in. So,
Okay.
and I might add in another section or so depending on what, if an instructor really needs something, you know? Does that make sense?
so like 20 and 22 and 20.
You know, like, so if you do the first one, it's just, you know, they're gonna start with chapter 3, or they're starting in here, is where kind of the content for college algebra is supposed to be on functions. But, you know, they look kind of like this, you know, and I kind of give them some directions. I said there are questions 1 through 14 are a review of some concepts you need to know to how to do your math 11 problems. Questions 15 through 26 are more practice on what you're doing in your 11-11 class. I try to tell them that on every assignment, what it,
Okay,
you know.
sounds
okay?
good.
And here, they get 5 attempts per problem, so it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah, just like-
Except on the progress checks, they only get 2.
So thinking of the rhythm of MPL sessions, after, say they have helped everybody who had raised their hand and signed up, the next step might to be part of this rotation is to log into your Cougar View and go to that discussion board to see if anybody's there,
Right.
address that, just as though the person's here virtually, and then start the process all over again.
And, I also, encourage them to do it because they get a 5% bonus for each problem that they turn in more than 24 hours before they do it. You know what I mean? So that's encouragement to get your problems done. And typically what I'll do is I'll give them homework on a Monday and it'll be due the following Wednesday. So they get like a week and a half almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens, I'm doing this because I know it's happened to me multiple times.
Well, what happens question.
But just saying, like, I have an answer for a problem. Webassign isn't taking it as that answer. Do you want us to email?
Don't panic. You can let me know later on. Tell them, by the way, tell them not to panic about anything. Sometimes
Okay.
Webassign is a little case sensitive. Sometimes if they say answer undefined, right? If y'all know that word,
Yeah.
they'll have it in all caps. If you put undefined in there in lowercase, they'll mark it wrong
Yeah.
when it's really right. So again, don't panic. That's why you get 5 attempts. I can go back in there and I can add credit to a problem if somebody missed it all their times because of the semantics thing,
Okay. Do you want us to send you emails about that?
You
If,
can.
or you
Or
want
you
them
can just
to?
let me know when you see me. If it's really, if somebody's getting worked up about it, you think it's very important, maybe you can wait till you see me the next time. But if you want to, go ahead.
It'd probably be best to do a report for that.
Or do you want us to? Yeah. Or do you want us to do a report for that saying we did this problem on this Webassign? We couldn't.
Let me
this-
know with an email too, because I might see that before I go in to see a report.
Okay.
When we do it.
So just do
And
both.
so you're running the system with Webassign where it doesn't discount points, it's just they have 5 attempts and then it's wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you get 5% if you do it early. And I don't advertise this, but if somebody, like remember I told you they might need 2 different places sometimes in their college algebra support. If they just really don't know what's going on, tell them to do what you can and I can leave the rest. And even if it's past due, they can email me and I can always go back and give them an extension and say, you can go back and touch it later when you might feel a little more comfortable, all right? But don't let anybody panic about a due date. Just say, hey, I think you could email Mr. Coward, you could send him a request and he'll give you extra time, Yes.
Are you going to pop in occasionally or regularly in here just to say hi?
Yes, sir.
What's your
I-
frequency?
I haven't set a schedule yet. I was gonna talk to you about, I don't know yet. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna try to come in here often as I can. I don't know.
Excluding
For
Sundays.
bits and
sorry.
periods of time, I don't know. Maybe
It'd be
on,
like
I
your
guess on
cheerleading session,
Sundays.
you're never gonna see it.
I know.
Yeah, try. That's what I was gonna add, I'll pop in. I don't have it set. I got my own office hours set up there and I got my class schedule. I haven't really.
So I'll never see you then.
I'll be over here. No, I'll see what I
On
can.
Sundays.
I'll see what I can do.
Never be for me.
But y'all understand the main objective for this first week though, is just to
Yeah.
get them in here for the first appointment, to get them a recurring appointment, and if they can go ahead and start on their work, let them go ahead and get them started. If they do have something coming live Monday.
Remember, one of the things in many of the applications I've received to you and all your colleagues in the ACT is what was one of the challenging things coming to school? It's time management.
Yeah.
So you could have a conversation, it doesn't have to be just this narrow focus just on that. It could be on studying and using this service. So the question would be like, what do you prefer? You want to make repeating appointments for the semester, or do you want to do it for the month, or do you want to do it just week by week or for 2 weeks? And they'll tell you, oh, well, I don't know. And you can say, well, I don't know, just talk to them like a human being to find out like if they have a lot of conflicts that might get in the way, then probably week to week might work better. If they're rigid in their schedule or know their schedule, then maybe to midterms. So really be flexible in your conversation and thinking and how
Can
you
you
help
put in
the
an
folks.
email or something, because I honestly won't know when like midterms week and stuff, so if people want to do that, otherwise I have to find out this information.
It's on the,
It is
This
not
is
on
an
the
academic calendar.
No, it's on the calendar. I have to pay attention to that. I just know teachers have to do a test here.
It's always the first or second week of October, right?
I believe so.
In the fall.
Yeah, I believe so.
I would also ask,
Great.
you
Oh,
might
it's
hear them
called
say this, I'm gonna send an email Monday morning about, hey, here's how you get into the class, right? when they get into the class, they get a 2-week trial period, you know, where you can do your work and no payment is necessary. By the end of 2 weeks, though, they have to pay for it or they'll get locked out. They can pay for it the first day when they sign up if they want to, but if you would remind them these first 2 weeks, hey, have you paid for this yet, you know?
For WebAssign? or
Yeah,
for-
WebAssign,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and if they do it by, you know, online with, you know, Cengage, which owns WebAssign, it's like $37.
Yeah.
If they go to the bookstore and use their, if they have money that they have to go to the bookstore and get an access code, it'll be like $51 if they get it at the
Yeah.
bookstore. But-
That's like if you have like a scholarship.
Yeah, if you have money, you have to use
Yeah.
it, but it's cheaper if you just buy it on your own online, it's only $37.
I use it.
And, you know, also, if they ever ask you this, if you use WebAssign for this class, right, and if they use WebAssign in Math 1111, they have to pay for both. But it's just 37 times 2, which is 74, which still isn't bad. Does that make sense? During the summer, I was able to get them where they covered it because WebAssign gave me some misinformation. Okay, and if they complain about it, tell them that the reason that is that Cengage is a publishing company. Do y'all know them? They own
Yes.
WebAssign.
They really.
If I was using a Cengage book, and it's not even me, it's my department that makes me use this book. If we were using a Cengage book, then like if you were taking multiple classes in the same book, only have to pay once. But since this is not a Cengage book, it's an OpenStax book. If you heard about OpenStax resources, free resources, they're making you pay. But the Cengage book we would have to use would be $100. So if you do $100, it would still cover both classes. That's still more than 37 for 2, right? So tell them you're still saving money, okay?
We're trying to.
But trying to remind them of that, hey, by the end of the 2 weeks, if you pay, you know, say that next week, hey, they're going to think about it. I'm going to send them emails and stuff, but you're going to have to, if you could help remind them, that would be great. I guess I need to make a list of these things and maybe either post it here or I'll send it to you guys or something.
Yeah.
And I also have this, I don't know, I thought this might be good. They had this in the lab during the summer. This is a list of topics in each section. Would this be helpful? Maybe we can get, you know,
Or just put an
Leave a
email
copy.
out.
Yes, Kathy, no, I can't, I don't have a, you know, I guess I could scan it or whatever, but it starts a chapter early than I start. Chapter 3 starts back here, but it's got like all the major topics and some things about it. Maybe we can make some copies of that and leave some handouts in
That'd be
here.
awesome.
Okay, so I'll get that done too.
Actually, we could, since we have spare ones, we can make that as one of the handouts in the
Yeah.
storage thing in there.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
good.
so, or maybe either give that to you, maybe you can help me make some copies or something.
So remember, wrap-up time, getting paid, just like one-on-one tutoring. You know, confirm clients who attended are on the sign-up sheet, and then in EAB, so cross-check that. This list with. what's
You want us to
in
go
EAB.
in there and update the times in EAB with the times on the out for the,
I'd be interested in that. Yeah. So time permitting, it's a
okay,
good time.
just curious.
Yeah, you know, you can adjust. You haven't seen it yet, but you can adjust the in-out time, and you can do that right from here.
I didn't know that either. I'll show you how to do it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
really simple.
Lock the door if no more NPLs after the last NPL
Oh,
here.
that's what
And you do it the same way. I believe you have to use the code
Yeah, use the
again. So
code
use the
and then
code.
just turn it the other way.
81518 and pound, and then right and type
Turn
it.
it.
Is the code for this room the same code for the one across the way there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I've gotten questions
May
so
I
many
ask a
times.
couple of what-ifs?
One moment. Let
Sure.
me correct this error.
How many computers are in here? I'm just curious.
25, I think, I counted one time.
So how are we gonna do 2 shifts of 15?
Because it's
Oh,
only
yeah.
15's allowed here in a time.
15
at a
per
time.
hour.
Yeah, per
But if there's
hour.
2,
Oh.
if there's 2, oh, okay.
Two
And if-
people to 15 people.
Oh, okay.
And
Well, it's only-
if you're here when there's a front desk person, either Kathy or Alicia or Tanya, just say I'm leaving. I locked the door.
Okay.
And then if you're the last one out, but they might not be here, right? The latest is 6, I think.
So,
Yeah.
Do y'all work on Sundays? No.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm here all by myself on Sundays.
No, there's gonna be regular one-on-one tutors here too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm here all by myself.
So
I was.
it'll be a few tutors. Maybe Julie Wilson might be here. That was a phase of like.
No, I was just thinking.
I don't know who else. It's we're making sure that it's covered for all the general areas with people who cover the most subjects. And I think you can see schedules online. Yeah.
Because I've had to do it to make private tutoring appointments already.
So what if, I was Well, what if somebody just walks in? So we just
Ask what they need.
make them sign up, or, you can probably get some people that just wanna drop in sometimes.
If we have the room, I guess, then it would be acceptable to just kind of, because if the maximum is 15, we wouldn't want to go over that, but say only 13 people showed up that day,
Mm-hmm.
then I feel like it would be acceptable.
Now, if it's
just
one or
to
two
kind of-
over, you might be all right, 'cause there
Yeah.
are 25 stations in here.
Yeah.
And my other question was, what if somebody wants to stay later than the hour they signed up for?
Make them sign up for the next hour.
Can they stay?
Well, it depends on how strict you want to be with the 15 limit.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know these kind of things are gonna
The
come
15
up.
limit, again, was I was thinking of you all and
Not to overwhelm you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Greatly appreciate it.
does it depend on the, can it depend
you'll do
on-
fine. It really,
Can it depend on the person? Because it wouldn't bother me if all 25 stations were filled.
Hmm.
So like, let's just say someone like we have a couple extra on there.
That's a
Could
whole lot for an hour.
If you don't have like a few in here and a
But like-
walk-in comes in, I would say, let them in, I want to make
And it
them
would
go
be
over there
unfair
and
to set a
sign up
precedent
first,
for the
right?
other
Mhm.
NPLs on your own, because if you do that.
And
then
if you
students
have
are
the
gonna
room in
expect-
here and somebody wants to
Yeah,
stay
maybe.
longer after their hour, I would think that would be all right too.
It's human nature.
yeah.
'Cause I
And
mean,
you would
I
just,
want
you would,
Sundays.
that, in that case, Emily, you'll have to enter that in time differently
Okay.
if they want to stay an
Just
hour.
go ahead and
So
sign
instead
up
of like
for the next
making
hour,
another
if there's a
appointment to
spot.
do that, you just change the,
Okay.
you open the appointment up and change the, is
Okay.
it end? Yeah.
And we designed this, I think, when we built the hours for what, like they told us 266 students
Mhm.
total. And, we're gonna be under that, so there's gonna be, I don't know, but I don't know if you're gonna be overwhelmed with 15 every block, all right? So-
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
To allow more than 15 is up to individual discretion of the
Yeah.
NPL?
And I mean, it's
See.
your comfort level, but I'm just saying, I'm just giving you some what ifs.
I just think it would depend on the person because like
Just get them to sign in again, I guess if they wanna stay another hour, just get them to sign the next hour, right? And maybe have them log into EAB and get in there, I guess.
or we can do the EAB.
Or you could do that, just put them in there, I guess, but
'Cause
if
they may
somebody
just-
wants to work, we wanna kind of encourage that, so. What you think?
Yeah, so they just want to might just want to use computers. They might not have one at
Well, I
home.
say they might not even, might say, hey, can I just stay here and finish?
Yeah,
You can go help somebody else.
yeah. I mean, can just do that.
Okay.
Well,
Just
I'm
trying to
curious
throw some
about
what
the
ifs
Sunday
out there.
people. So,
There's me, and then there's
You
I
don't need
have one more
anything
person
else
come in
online?
around 4 because
know what to
I get a
look
meal
for?
break at some point.
Everybody
like
good with this?
30 minutes, I think.
Kaylee Davis is online. Tanya Streeter, I think.
Tanya?
Is Tanya still on for Sunday?
I don't think Tanya does math, does she?
No, these are just people that are,
Oh, okay.
there's gonna be one-on-one tutors here in PL.
Oh, okay.
Is it just you, Emily?
It's just me here until like I'm telling you until like 3 or 4. Then I have someone to come in the afternoon.
I can check my availability.
So here you go, just so you know there's other people here and you can say hi, and you're not just all alone
I
here.
was enjoying it. I was
It's,
like class music.
And you can see it on the schedule
Yeah.
that we've shared before, but it's supposed to be Tanya, Samantha, Julie, Stephanie Clark, Corey,
Okay.
and you,
And then
and Hepsi, maybe. Hepsi would do.
yeah, I love Pepsi. Pepsi's awesome. You won't know her.
Okay.
She graduated 2 years ago. And she's awesome. I had inorganic with her. And she made me look feel really stupid in my class.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anyone in
Yeah,
it.
Tracy was giving me a bunch of advice about it.
Just cry internally as you
And
take the class.
There's gonna be some schedule add, schedule drop, people in the wrong spot, so I would ask somebody when they come in, who you're,
So
like I said, you're
can-
probably gonna have some coming here, supposed to go over there, and we're not trying to, I don't think you should think of it as trying to be rude or anything, but, Dr. Shoemaker runs the Learning Support Lab over there, it's the Student Success Center, and they have a grant to pay for all this, and they need
Mhm.
data, just like Dr. Rendleman
Michaela
does, so they
Karshie's
wanna make
gonna
sure
be-
that they're
I
doing
don't know who
the
that
right,
is.
She's a new
serving
person.
the right
So
But
she
she'll be
got-
about, she's
She's
parallel.
got 4.
Okay.
Comes in around 4 later.
Yep.
I need a lunch break.
Yep, so that's all I
I
have
was
for
okay
now.
with that too.
So keep the questions coming, because, clearly,
So why don't we put a
clearly
sign-
we have a vision, clearly we have a framework, but there are gonna be some
Do we have
rules.
one
I
whiteboard?
think, here.
There's only one whiteboard in here?
Remember, we're gonna bring 2 rollies up here,
Okay.
2 rolling ones. Whiteboards we're talking about.
Actually, I'm sure that they have some in storage if you wanted to press and see if they'll put one up behind there or something.
Yeah.
I like writing on things, so I'm always curious. And I didn't really like to
There's
do
not, I don't think they're used.
Remember, log into One USG Connect and enter your
The time.
exit time.
I don't remember my password.
What's that? Yeah.
Have you done that yet?
Did we?
We think-
Interesting.
Did he help?
I'll just do that on my laptop.
Well, thank you all.
I'm gonna do my iPad later. I can do it with you. There, okay. Yeah.